Imagine, just imagine that you could instantly feel any way that you wanted to, all without the need for drugs or toxins.
It'll actually emit a signal that you will start to feel in a couple of minutes without any drugs or toxins.
And I feel that every time I try it, whether it's here or up here, you've actually built something that works, that does what it says it's supposed to do.
You just push a button and that's how you feel.
The Hapbee product is amazing.
Guys, this is a beautiful idea.
And this is radical, revolutionary, I'm in.
Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds way too good to be true. But you're wrong. Look, it says right there on their Indiegogo campaign that it's backed by science, so it must be true.
Hey guys, this is Scott, and welcome to Hapbee. Hapbee uses a patented process to deliver unique magnetic fields to your body. They help you feel calm, relaxed, alert, sleepy.
All thanks to the advances brought to us by the genius of Indiegogo scientists.
Started out with calm, and it got me into a really sweet spot.
And it felt like energy, electricity was going through my body.
Who have raised almost $400,000 for this already. It's like Netflix, but for how you feel.
Now, think of it like Netflix for feelings. That's really what's happening here. 15 years ago, this technology was invented out of Seattle. There's 38 patents and about $80 million behind this.
$80 million? I can't wait to see what they've achieved with $80 million.
What we can do is we can put chemical solutions inside of our labs, and we can come out with a 13 megabyte wave file. We are taking this to the world as a general wellness product. So we can mimic the effects of a few cups of coffee. Caffeine, we can mimic melatonin.
Damn, what a gullible breed.
Oh, this is such a scam. I mean, a hardcore scam without shame. I mean, let's just blow straight past the fact that absolutely everywhere they claim that this is patented, so it must work, right?
Hapbee uses a patented process, 38 patents and about $80 million behind this.
But oddly enough, they never linked that patent on any of their sites. It's and curiously, when you do a patent search on Google, it doesn't seem to find anything either. Odd that. I mean, these guys just excel when it comes to making stuff up out of whole cloth. Like this quote: "The most effective substance-free, mood-altering tool on the market today." Who said this? I don't know, it's just something that's there on their Indiegogo page. He's claiming that he can replicate stimulants like caffeine by recording their magnetic fields and playing them back to you.
Specializes in ultra-low frequencies, and with its patented technology, it can record small magnetic fields from chemical solutions. With the use of a wearable device, Hapbee can deliver dozens of safe, comfortable feelings to your body at the click of a button.
Which is like saying watching someone lift weights will make you a weightlifter. Listening to a cup of coffee is not the same as drinking a cup of coffee. Fundamentally, drugs like caffeine work by interacting with your body on a chemical level. That's something you fundamentally cannot replicate by playing a wave file.
And we can come out with a 13 megabyte wave file.
Something else also kind of just jarred me with that. I mean, it's like
38 patents and about $80 million behind this.
Why would someone with over $80 million in research behind this, what possible reason could they need $15,000 in a scam starter campaign for?
We have an incredible team that is so excited to bring this extraordinary technology to the world. But we need your help. So we've got the weight of the world behind this. We are so excited to bring this to the market here in the next 2 months. And everyone in Genius is going to get several $100s off at the end of this. So many ways that you can use the Hapbee device to help you feel better.
I mean, this is amazing. It only costs $500. But because they're so generous, they've reduced it to $360. But wait, that gets even better, because you get to subscribe to an app that'll only cost you another $200-ish per year. Cancel my healthcare right now and sign me up. Just like all the people who have given this thing over $250,000. And why not? I mean, just look at all these people here who say that it works.
Okay, I just tried the relax, and don't do this if you don't want to be so relaxed.
And my feeling is it will be a consumer-generated revolution. The moment that the consumer gets this, they will actually do all the selling.
I've just heard about it. I think you guys are truly doing something that will change the world.
I am so amazed to actually be holding this in my hands. Do you guys know how cool this is?
Eric Lee here with the New England Patriots. Feeling happy right now, and I can't really explain it. I've been told a lot of things, but one thing's for sure, there's a lot of great products out there, but nothing beats this. And
may I have a volunteer from the audience? Yes, you, sir.
Now, at this point, these recommendations don't really start to ring quite as true.
Now, sir, you've never seen me before, is that correct?
That is correct.
Well, then how come his face is on the bottle?
Aim that in some form or fashion. I believe that success and positivity and everything good that you would want for yourself could be achieved. Happy. This product's awesome.
Hey, this is Joe Polish with Genius Network. What I'm most excited about in seeing where this could go is the application of this for people that are suffering, finding a way to lead them out of that suffering.
Dear God, he makes it sound like it's a product for euthanizing dogs.
And so I'm, from the reports and the people that I've seen responding to this, it seems pretty amazing. And looking forward to seeing how this could be utilized to help change the world and just make humans that much more functional, amazing, and reduce suffering. So thank you.
Wow, all of that coming from a man wearing a Kiss Me, I'm a Genius t-shirt. And where did he say he was from? The Genius Network.
And everyone in Genius is going to get several $100s off at the end of this. So
wow, just look at all the things the Genius Network provides.
First, let me assure you that this is not one of those shady pyramid schemes you've been hearing about. No, sir. Our model is the trapezoid.
Join your tribe of tribal leaders. 10 times your wealth.
That guarantees each investor an 800% return within hours of your initial... Uh-oh, the cops!
Connections and contributions. And have ELF. Easy, lucrative and fun business and life. Wow, that sounds like a real promise. I wonder what there's an earnings disclaimer at the bottom of this website. Why, yes, there is.
Hi, I'm Ray Edwards, and...
Wow, not the legendary copywriter Ray Edwards.
This device, I was so skeptical.
Wow, he was so skeptical. I'm sure this means that when he was won over by the device, it'll mean so much more.
I put it on. I began to feel the effects within less than 2 minutes, except without any of the ill effects. I just felt more alert, more alive, more energized.
Wow, that's quite a collection of buzzwords there.
Big news! What if we could get together, you and I, and a bunch of my high-powered marketing friends, and craft your messaging so that you can sell more of whatever it is you sell. Except without any of the ill effects. I just felt more alert, more alive, more energized, so that you can finally start that business you want to start.
There's a force that runs through the universe. We used to call that force God. We now call it Megatronics, the 48 tips to corporate success.
So you can begin doing the work that you were created and put here to do. And we could do it all in just 3 days.
See that man right over there?
Yeah?
He's buying this. Did you know that?
No.
Called me 2 minutes before you came in and said, save the little one. I'm coming down.
supplies are limited, so make sure to click the link below and reserve your product today.
Here he is. Now, you want it or not?
All right. I'll take it.
Best decision you ever made.
Oh, dear God, is there anyone involved with this project who isn't some woo used car salesman type?
We're going to have the experts on strategic branding, on faith-based business, on speaking on stages all over the world, on writing best-selling books.
Who wants to get rich today?
Me! Now hear me, this is not going to be one of those events where you go and you just get a lot of rah-rah speeches.
Do you want to be the ultimate you?
Yes. And you feel good and you go home and you wonder, why did I even go? It made no difference in my life. No.
Do you want to yodel at the top of the corporate mountain?
Yes. You are going to change at the event. You're going to get things done at the event. You're going to leave with,
will you write me a check made out to cash?
Good, yes.
What was amazing about it is I'm not someone who feels things quickly in my body, and within about 5 minutes, I not only felt so calm, you can see it still on my face, but I could pay attention. I just felt happy.
Do you know what they call alternative medicine that's been proved to work? Medicine.
I know. Why did no one think of this brilliant device sooner? I'm sure it's been extensively tested, and we'll have a detailed description of how it works in the frequently asked questions section. After all, it's a mind control device.
Tampering with people's brainwaves, mind manipulation. It just raises too many questions.
So let's see. Are there multiple colors available? Well, okay, that's maybe not the first question I had in mind, but whatever. When will my product arrive? How do they set up an account after purchase? Oh, right, so towards the end of the campaign, I'm going to have to sign up for the app and subscribe. How do I download the app? Well, there seems to be a lot of focus on taking my money here.
Will you write me a check made out to cash?
Good, yes.
Does the app work with iOS and Android? How does the Signal subscription work and how much will it cost? Will they be adding new signals to the app and will it cost more? Like emotions like suicidal or...
The application of this for people that are suffering, finding a way to lead them out of that suffering.
Or postal, for those with lots of gambling debts and a large life insurance on their partner. Or how about emotions like killing machine for the army? Or sex slave, so all the pickup artists can get laid after they've run out of Gabe and roofies.
I will love you forever.
Yes, we have many more signals and feelings going through testing in our labs as we speak. Wow, they've got labs. I can't wait to see them. Those remarkable labs where they discovered exactly what the feeling happy is like, and then they've got what, alert and pick me up? Well, aren't they kind of the same? And calm and relaxed? Again, kind of the same, and sleepy, kind of the same thing? Yeah, you can't but help feel that they didn't spend long deciding what emotions they were going to claim their device could replicate. Now, where were we? Those will be released to all members later in the year. Some signals will be premium. Others will be launched and included in the main subscription package. That's amazing. I can pay even more for premium feelings. Is there an age limit to Hapbee? We ask all members be 21 and older to use Hapbee products responsibly. Is Hapbee good as a medical device? Well, no. That would mean it would have to work. Will there be more products coming with Hapbee technology? Absolutely. We intend to use our technology in many form factors to help at home, at work, at play, and even while sleeping. Stay tuned. That's odd. Not a single frequently asked question about how it works, and why all those hippies are constantly striving to avoid frequencies and fields, like phones and power lines, are now so keen to strap one around their neck because someone told them it would make them feel good. I'll take a bet with any Hapbee owner, and I'll play an emotion for you, and you have to guess which of the 6 emotions I'm playing.
Which one did you just try? What was the signal?
I think it was relax, and I had a...
I'm going to guess that 5 times out of 6 you're going to make excuses like, well, that was going to be my second guess. And that would be, before I break the news to you, that's not even a Hapbee you're wearing. It's a $300 necklace with an LED light in it.
But wearing it like this, it's a stroke of genius. Because what you did with the light, I feel like I'm Iron Man.
That's amazing. And it could replicate all those feelings that you were getting from Hapbee. But don't feel too bad. There's one emotion that Hapbee is guaranteed to produce in the minds of anyone who even thinks of buying it. Gullibility. But if that's not enough for you hippies, this claims to be a mind control device and you're strapping it to your head. Seriously, remember all those moral panics about cell phones cause cancer? Well, this device is like strapping one of those to your head, which is fantastic. It takes all the stress out of permanently holding the cell phone up to your ear. Now you can strap it to your forehead. But don't worry, the designer has a comprehensive understanding of the electromagnetic spectrum, which he'll demonstrate for us now.
And we are playing these signals onto your body at about 20 kilohertz. Now, by comparison, your smartphone is about 600 megahertz, about 3,000 times as much.
Now, before I explain just how dumb what he just said was, let me just say one thing. My maths gene's twitching there. What was it? His device was 20 kilohertz and the phone was 600 megahertz. That's 600,000 kilohertz. That's 30,000 difference, not 3,000.
By comparison, your smartphone is about 600 megahertz, about 3,000 times as much.
Now I know what you're thinking, it's only an order of magnitude. Well, what does that matter when you're dealing with the calculations for a mind control device and this is the only number in your entire video? Now, ignoring the miscalculation for a second, you might say, well, surely by his logic, his device is even safer then. Which kind of glosses over just how stupid his premise is. You know, that his device runs at a lower frequency, therefore it's 30,000 times safer. So that would mean, right, let's just follow this logic through, that the higher the frequency, the more dangerous it is. So it turns out the frequency of daylight is about 600 terahertz, which if this guy was correct, that would mean that daylight is 1,000,000 times more dangerous than your cell phone. Shh, no one tell the plants how dangerous light is. But don't worry, I'm sure he's going to redeem himself with his knowledge of magnetic fields. I'm sure he's not going to mispronounce the unit for magnetic field strength at all.
What you're getting is a 40 milligauss magnetic field.
It's pronounced Gauss.
40 milligauss.
40 milligauss. And yes, that is a particularly tiny magnetic field. It's about 1/10 of the Earth's magnetic field. Yes, and with science understanding like that, this is the guy who thinks he's made a mind control device. Fortunately for you New Agey sorts, there is absolutely no way that this device can function. Well, not entirely, beyond the power of suggestion.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
So, for instance, if I tell you that we've done lots of research.
I put roughly $2 billion into Tachyon research.
And we found a way of replicating everything that Hapbee does, but without the need for the headband or for the app. This goes around your wrist, so it's far safer than strapping it around your head. And further, this operates at a frequency of light that is over 100 billion times the frequency of Hapbee. So you can see it's working by the frequency of the light that it's emitting into your body and energizing you with that frequency. Further, you don't need the app. You just choose the color that you want to feel. I mean, I was super skeptical about this. I didn't believe that it would work for a second. But I put on the pink one, and with 30 seconds later, I was feeling happy. I mean, this will just be so revolutionary when it gets into the hands of consumers like you. Pink is for happy, blue is for high energy, green grants you the power to manipulate time, and yellow gives you telepathy. The only thing that we ask is, use them responsibly. Don't use them all at once. Now available at my Amazon store below for 1/30th of the cost of a Hapbee, and without the need for paying $200 a year on an app. There is no way that this thing can actually control how you feel. You know, if all you had to do was play the right magnetic waves and boom, mind control, and you could just cause paralysis or something like that, I don't think you'd need to be running an Indiegogo scheme.
Hapbee replicates dozens of feelings by playing safe, predictable electromagnetic fields.
It's a shame the government didn't approve them. There's so many applications for causing short-term paralysis.
But if you look around, you'll find this on their website. Devices like Hapbee have been ruled general wellness devices by the Food and Drug Administration. This is a category that the FDA has defined for technologies that are both safe and intended for improving performance in healthy users, not for medical use. Because for medical use, you would have to prove that it actually works.
It's not heat-based, it's not invasive, it's not ionizing.
It's not functional in the way that anyone can prove that it's got any medical utility. Hapbee is not FDA approved for medical applications. You know, because there's no proof that it works. It is not a medical device and is therefore not intended to treat or prevent any health problems. Now, the science on their website isn't just wrong. It's like you're just taking a science article and scrambling the words around for a bit. Hapbee is a low-energy magnetic field augmentative wearable that uses ultra-low radio frequency energy in the 0 to 22 kilohertz spectrum to influence your experience and feelings in a variety of emotional dimensions. The signals played by the Hapbee device are low amplitude and well under the ICN IRP guidelines for safe exposure to low spectrum signals. Hapbee technology has been validated in animal safety studies. Check back for our upcoming white paper for information on Hapbee signals animal testing. Yes, why wait to see if the product is safe by animal testing? Let's give it to people first and then do our tests on animals. But if you're not happy with that, don't worry. This guy's done extensive tests already, like this one, based on watching 5 mice for just over an hour.
Our first signals, you can't see much, but you can see the different chemical signals that we were given in double-blinded studies with a third-party CRO.
And then this is pretty much exactly how he presents his results. Okay, so what have we got? Lab results. And on one axis, we've got relative activity of the mice, presumably. That's what it says at the bottom. N equals 5 mice. But then it gets a little weird when you actually start looking at this chart, right? So the first data point is after 20 minutes, when the mice, right, the other scale is relative activity. So mice can either have 0% relative activity plus 100% relative activity, or minus 100% relative activity, which for some reason isn't dead mice. But anyway, he says there's 5 mice in here, right? So what does this mean? That every single mouse in the cage showed exactly the same response? Or is each one of these lines a different mouse? In which case, I can tell you this, having actually done experiments on the behaviors of mice myself, that they're incredibly erratic and active creatures. You know, you do this different times a day, you'll get different results. You need extended periods of time to observe the behaviors of mice. And after that, it's not clear whether these are the responses from actually giving the mice, caffeine, caffeine from espresso or whatever, or whether these are the results from playing back his magical magnetic signals to the mice. So the second data point is at 40 minutes, which again, all of the mice are somehow magically in one of 3 states of 0% relative activity, 100% relative activity, or minus 100% relative activity. And then the third point, which again is equispaced on, is for some reason at 120 minutes. So in reality, that's over an hour on from the last data point. Yeah, you can't tell anything from results like this. Additional key effects include sleepiness with the melatonin and salivation with nicotine. I'm not quite sure how he got that out of his mice study. 150 humans have tested these signals with promising responses as well. Oh, really? So you're straight into the human testing, having successfully concluded your tests on 5 mice. Peer review articles, FDA studies, lab studies, and complete data room available on request and signed NDAs. I don't think that's going to happen. Remember, guys, nothing says scientifically proven like an elementary school level science project. Now, on the bright side, the reason this falls under the ICN IRP safety guidelines, because there is no possible way it can have an effect on you. The reason is simple. You are a bioelectric computer. Wow, bioelectric. That means it must be affected by things like magnetism and radio waves, right? So this thing could work in principle, right? Now, you see, the brain is a cluster of neurons, so the minimum that you've got to do is make those neurons fire. But of course, just making all the neurons in the brain fire, that's not going to generate a selective mood. That's going to generate death. It's the equivalent of making a computer chip release the blue smoke, right? For this thing to work, you need to make neurons in selective parts of the brain fire with micron precision and millisecond timing. But don't worry, folks, it's all been extensively tested on 5 mice, and this neckband that you can put wherever will make these micron-precise adjustments to your brain. Yeah, sure, just by hanging it around your neck. But let's just ignore that for a second. Let's just go for the sledgehammer approach. What would you need to make neurons fire at all by an external electric field? Well, neurons function on this thing called the action potential, is the voltage difference across the membrane of a neuron. And the stimulus potential you need is about 10 millivolts. So this is actually what's going on in your brain at the moment. There's all these millivolt level potential firings in your brain that's producing you. Now you might be wondering how we know all of this, which is a fascinating story. Turns out we learned all of this through squids. See, it turns out squids have these nerves called giant axons, which were big enough that people could actually do experiments with them.
The giant axons are large enough and robust enough for fine electrodes to be inserted through the cell membrane and into the axoplasm. In these early techniques, a fine glass tube was first inserted into the axon and secured with thread. It wasn't until the 1950s, following the wartime improvement of electronic equipment such as the cathode ray oscilloscope, that major progress was made. Scientists found that the nerve impulse was transmitted as a characteristic wave of electrical potential, and that this all-or-nothing action potential was generated mainly by transient movements of sodium and potassium ions across the nerve membrane.
But this also shows a beautiful contrast between how real science functions and ends up making our lives better compared to, say, Indiegogo science.
This understanding led directly to the development of drugs that block action potential formation and so act as local anesthetics, now used routinely as painkillers in dentistry and minor surgery.
We are taking this to the world as a general wellness product, so we can mimic the effects of a few cups of coffee, caffeine, we can mimic melatonin.
Yeah. Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, that's right. Why this device can't work? Well, you might be thinking that if you only need 10 millivolts to make nerves fire, then surely that can't be too hard by causing an electric field across, say, for instance, the head. That millivolt potential, the difference potential on the inside and the outside, it's basically the voltage difference across the cell membrane. So let's see, the stimulus to get these things to fire is about 10 millivolts. The cell membrane's about 10 nanometers across, so it's about a millivolt per nanometer, that sort of thing, which is about 1,000,000 volts per meter. Yeah, no wonder people are largely immune to electric fields. Now, I should stress this is different than sticking electrodes in people and actually passing electricity through them. When you're passing electricity through them, that does that damage in itself. I mean, but if it's simply an electric field, it really doesn't have that much effect on people. Which is why, if you take a look at the standards for what people are allowed to be exposed to in terms of electric fields, yeah, ignoring the frequency for a second, they're all up in the 20,000 volts per meter range. And what was the frequency he came out with? 22 kilohertz. Well, okay, let's just ignore the fact that there's no way this thing could produce the electric field to actually have an effect on the nerves. Let's just say it magically did somehow. It would have to be on a comparable frequency to the actual timescale of the firing of the nerve to couple successfully, which is getting on for about 100 hertz. And what was his frequency? 22,000 hertz. So basically frequencies this high just won't have any influence on the neurochemistry. And of course, if this device can't interact with the neurons in your brain, it can't make you feel anything. Hell, this is how drugs work. They actually get into the neurons and they block some pathways, and they can induce things like loss of consciousness or anesthesia. You know, those barbaric non-New Age medicines. You know, the ones that actually work. But what about magnetism? Oh, well, people are more resilient to magnetic fields than they are to electric fields.
Funny, isn't it? The human was impervious to our most powerful magnetic fields, yet in the end, he succumbed to a harmless sharpened stick.
Here is a frog in a magnetic field so strong that it's levitating. And it's quite happy there, alive. And sure, if you think that's awesome, give the frog a thumbs up. Basically, magnetic fields will have even less effect on your neurons than the electric field. Almost $400,000. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, make sure you hit the notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on awesome new uploads like this one. And as ever, if you really enjoyed this video and want to support this channel, you can do it directly through Patreon. And I'll leave the links below. And thanks for watching.